basketball sportsbook. Play to win the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
I say, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Happy Monday to everybody out there. A brand new week here on the Ticket Water Cooler and, of course, on 93.7 The Ticket. Rico is actually out today. He's feeling a little under the weather in the bad weather that's out there with the rainy weather. So we brought Nick Standard in, of course, of Happy Hour to join us for the Ticket Water Cooler. Thanks for joining us again. Well, I better turn your mic
There
on,
we go.
probably, yeah.
Rico just he just didn't like the weather outside, so he just decided not to come into work today.
Yeah, it could be that. He's just playing video games.
He's probably
back
just
home.
playing video games right now.
But
Listen,
it's fair. If you're sick, you can play video games.
It
There's
is.
no rule
It
against
is. It is. When was the last time you were actually like sick? Sick.
Yeah, just from I can't even remember.
Like not even just a cold.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a stomach. The day Matt Rule got hired, I had a little bit of a stomach bug. Nobody knew.
Did you go?
Go where? No. Not
To
to,
the
no
press
it was
conference.
a
Oh, the
couple
hire.
days.
Okay,
The day of the
press
hire.
conference.
The
Yeah,
day
yeah,
of the
yeah.
hire. The day of the
all right,
hire.
That's much better. Yeah.
I had a stomach bug.
That's
But then
Saturday.
it was just a day. It was just a day, and that was over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
'Cause
acknowledge getting sick. And I think that helps.
I thought it was food poisoning because I had mellow mushroom in Iowa City the night before, and on the drive back, it just did not agree with me the entire time. I was like, man, this mellow mushroom is just bad. And then 6 a.m. hit, and then 9 a.m. hit, and it was my Matt Rule hire, and I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
I was like, this is the start of a long day. But anyway, yeah.
You don't acknowledge getting sick too often, do you? Either, do you? Like
I just go
you
through
wouldn't
it.
like take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just work through.
I don't have sickness that makes me like worse, and I know you're supposed to especially here,
Yeah, exactly.
talk
We got
about one another.
we got mics, and we're
Yeah.
in a not a claustrophobic room, but we're in a tight room, and I mean, yeah,
Yeah. So
maybe we need to worry about a little bit.
we
But.
do the best we can, but I don't think there's been too much like of a sickness spreading issue over the years that I've worked here.
No, I think we're okay. It was funny. So I don't know if I've ever told this story. The day I started, when I started as an intern back in Mark would know this date, 2019, 2020. I want to say it was the back end of 2020. I can't remember. Either way, started in November or whatever as an intern with DP and Tom's show, and I ended up having. I got hired, went to Colorado for a week on vacation. I came for 1 or 2 days, left for a week for vacation, came back, worked 1 day, and then I had strep throat.
Oh, okay.
And then it was Christmas. So for the first month and a half, I just barely worked as an intern. I was like, man, this is a great first impression on these guys.
Yeah,
after I
probably
just
sitting back.
after
that
I
wasn't the right guy.
Yeah, after I just got hired and as an intern, and I am in Colorado. Then I come back for a day, and I'm like, I'm gonna be here, and then I get strapped.
I know I'm not.
So I was like, I'm not gonna be here. Sorry, man. Sorry. So,
Yeah, first impressions.
yeah, I mean,
at least it
it
didn't end up
obviously-
hurting,
I'll say it
yeah.
obviously worked out because
Fine.
I'm still here. So
How about this Nebraska? Of course, the Nebraska-Purdue game. We got to talk about that little
Yeah.
Nebraska basketball. In my mind, I know the Creighton game already happened, so it just kind of depends on where you are with your scale of getting excited. Sometimes for me, basketball, it takes a few games, put it together back to back to back or whatever, for me to think that that's the team you are instead of maybe a night something goes right. Because as much as it is strange here at Nebraska, because we never get nice things, bad teams do get upset sometimes. I know Nebraska doesn't because we just
That's
haven't
just what
for the
it is.
longest
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
In
We don't get
football or
nice
basketball,
things.
there's just never a moment really to be excited about. But I think this Nebraska-Purdue game definitely cements that this team is going places, that this is a build that is starting to work, and that this is a team to pay attention to. Purdue, the latest update on that is AP Top 25 poll came out. Nobody that saw Nebraska-Purdue batted an eye at what Purdue is. So there's respect in this. Purdue now ranked number 1, coming off an over
second straight year
at home. Yeah, the second time they've done that in the last 2 years, like you're saying. But coming off an overtime victory with a questionable call, and that was a national, that got national attention, the questionable call there at the end. And despite that, Nebraska is at least at a spot where a close call against Nebraska is not going to hurt you. Purdue moves up. Now, the other part of it is they are undefeated.
Yeah, I mean,
you run out of teams that are undefeated.
And Purdue has wins over Gonzaga. They have they have quality wins. Purdue has had to play somewhat of a gauntlet schedule. So far, I said this earlier this morning. They have wins over Duke. They have a 19-point win over Duke. They have, a dominating win over Minnesota, a dominating win over Florida State, that they were actually tested on the road at Florida State. They have a 12-point win on the road at West Virginia. They beat Marquette. They beat, like I said, Gonzaga on a neutral. I believe that one was on a neutral site, but they beat Gonzaga 84-66. So like this was a really good Purdue team. But if we bring it back to Nebraska, this Nebraska team is one now that it's easy for Husker fans to cheer for, and it's a team that you enjoy cheering for. Like if you think back to the last couple of years, Bach, it's been like one guy needing to go off for 25 points against Purdue or against a top 10 team in the Big Ten for Nebraska to upset them, and they need the other team to hit some or miss some shots, right? And when that happens, I mean that's such such a small chance of happening when you need a guy to go off for 25 or 30 points, because if you're playing against a Purdue, if you're playing against an Ohio State, they're going to be able to scout them. They're going to be able to stop them, figure out a way. And you almost say, all right, if Casey scores 25, then if that's how we get beat, whatever, it is what it is. This year, you're playing, Nebraska's playing defense, which is, first and foremost, enjoyable to watch and easy to cheer for because it's such a momentum builder, being able to have a suffocating defense. But also, you're getting 12 or 14 a night from Derek Walker. You're getting, 4 or 6 points from Blaise Keita, who's playing some big minutes when Walker's in foul trouble. You're getting Keisei Tominaga not only as an offensive threat to a certain extent, but also defensively. Like Keisei is active on the defensive side of the ball. And Sam Griesel, there's what's not to enjoy and cheer about when it comes to Sam Griesel. Obviously his story is first and foremost, but second of all, think about Saturday against Purdue. You are coming off of basically 2.5 days of being sick. And according to what we've been told, he was in pretty rough shape Wednesday. It's such bad shape that he couldn't even come to the game on Wednesday at Indiana. He had to stay in the hotel. And so when you sit there and you think about and there he is against the number 4 team in the country, diving on the floor, giving up his body when he's not 100%. That stuff is what's easy to cheer for. And I think this is a team that's going to compete quite a bit. And I think I'm starting to truly buy in, because like you said, you have to take a couple days or a couple games consistently and see, is this who they are? And I think we're starting to see that this is a team under Fred Hoiberg in his 4th year that, all right, they're going to be able to compete with some of the teams, if not all the teams on their schedule.
And it is interesting too, because I know it's like somebody off the text line asking, is Hoiberg saved? Has to be, right? I think there is, that's the backdrop of all this conversation too, is that Fred Hoiberg obviously came in to this year needing to have something to build off of, something to cheer for, something even, like you said, to relate to if you're a Nebraska basketball fan. And it's probably still too early to say that, but Nebraska, it definitely feels like it's headed that direction. I don't think there was times, and we did this all throughout the Frost era. You do it through the losing streaks of the Hoiberg, even last year, where you have to talk about it. It's there.
Yeah.
Unless you're just looking the other way and you want to act like it's not there, that's fine. But I think with Hoiberg at this point in the season, I don't think we need to bring it up, here and there all the time. Obviously, if there's major shift change in how Nebraska basketball is doing, then you can bring it up again. But for right now, absolutely. Because this team beat Creighton. That was the biggest Nebraska basketball win since Tim Miles was here. I'd have to think. And now played number 1 Purdue down to the wire, made some mistakes. They're still not, it's not a complete team or anything like that. They only go about 6 deep, 7 if you have to include, a backup big, because Tominaga's not going to, go in for Derek Walker at any point in time. But there, the question then becomes how much of this is sustainable, because this is a senior-led team.
It is.
As we like to call it, a young team or whatever, because they, haven't played together a whole lot. Derek Walko, Greasel, and Bandamel, could be your top 3 players, maybe all around, if you'd want to lean it that way. Tom Auguster has an argument for that. Wiltshire on certain nights has an argument for that. And Gary's a really good, kind of glue guy there. But that is the one thing that you have to kind of dial yourself back a little bit in as far as like team building and where this program's headed. A few of these guys are kind of rented pieces.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also what it's been. I would also add this, that box. So sidebar real quick. They did have a visitor on Saturday. They had an official visitor in Bay Ndongo. He's a 6'10", 220-pound power forward from the Denver area. He is the 3rd best player in the state of Colorado and the 159th best player in the country overall. So, and that was a great, if we want to talk about the show that was put on for him. Oh yeah, it was as great of an opportunity as Nebraska could have asked for, and a really good show. It was a really good show. Obviously, you come up short, but that's something that Nebraska can sell. Is they took the number 4 team in the country to overtime at home on a Saturday, or somewhat early in the season. I mean, that was your 11th game of the year, somewhat early into the season, and you had pretty close to a sellout, if not a sellout. And the energy was as good in the building as it has been in recent memory. Like think about that. I mean, and a big reason why is because you were able to beat number 7 Creighton just 6 days before.
Yeah. Creighton, by the way, dropped out of the top 25.
Yeah, they're struggling
so
bad.
They're struggling. Eric and Lincoln kind of, says what you were saying. The PBA felt like the vault again. That was a fun game to go to. The energy was the highest it's been in a while. And I think it's also, you can have kind of different opinions here. Somebody else texted, come on, we're putting, okay, he's arguing something else. But I think that, at a certain point you could say you're putting the cart before the hearse, but we're talking about Nebraska basketball here.
Yeah,
so you're not expecting Duke or Kentucky expectations like back that way.
Yeah, that's what somebody says. Come on, we're putting the fine china out for 159th ranked player in the country. Come on, man. I think you have to understand where Nebraska's at. Also understand how Fred Hoiberg builds a roster every year. Like this season, if Nebraska finishes around 500, I think that's a good expectation. Is around 500. They have 20 games left. I just counted. So if they finish, 8-12, or if they finish, so let's say if they go 10-10 in their next 10 game or 20 games, they're going to finish 16-15 on the season, right? And which, first of all, it's a game above 500. Second of all, you're probably avoiding day 1 of the Big Ten tournament, which is huge. And third of all, that's something that you can build into next season. What we also know about Fred Hoiberg is that he's going to build a lot of his rosters around transfers, and it showed that if you get the right kind of transfer in here and you have the right mentality, and also Fred Hoiberg's built this coaching staff to be a little more defensive minded rather than just simply recruiting. When you have on the floor coaches, you have a better opportunity to compete in games with maybe even lesser talent. And so, I don't know. I just sit here. Fred Hoiberg deserves a lot of credit. I understand Nebraska's 6-5. I understand they're not an NCAA tournament team, but think about, just as Bach said, it's not a secret that Fred Hoiberg's job is on the line. But think about when a coach and his job's on the line, what do they usually fall back on? What they're comfortable and confident in. What Fred Hoiberg's confident in is his ability to shoot the ball in offensive basketball. But instead, he completely flipped it 180, and it's defense first. Mm-hmm. It's not pretty. He doesn't like it. He said that after Creighton, that he's like, I hate defense. I don't like having a defense first team, but that's what's going to keep us in games. And so I think Fred Hoiberg deserves a lot of credit, because rather than doing what, dare I say, Scott Frost did, he completely did the opposite, changed the mentality of the program, brought guys in that fit that mentality, and here you are competing with not only number 7 team in the country, Indiana on the road without your best player, and now number 4 Purdue.
Number 1 Purdue.
Number 1 Purdue.
As of newly today. All right, we'll take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler. We'll be back with more Husker talk, lots of sports talk in general to get to. That's coming up next here on the Ticket Water Cooler, 93.7.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln hockey team. Tune in to 93 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Join DP and Jay Foreman for Old School Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus. The guys will be broadcasting from the Barred Owl Patio Bar on the top floor. Come see the best views in town with great drinks on Thirsty Thursday from the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Bagels and Joe is happy to introduce the new Joe Card. Get unlimited drip coffee from all 5 locations, including the new Seward location, for just $8.95 per month. Start your mornings off right with a breakfast sandwich and unlimited coffee from Bagels and Joe.
Are you looking for some holiday fun right in the heart of downtown Lincoln? Bring your friends and family to Lincoln's largest drive-through Christmas lights experience. This show features countless high-quality lights in vibrant colors, holiday props, and favorite characters of the season, all synchronized to music to enjoy in your car. Start a new holiday tradition this year and experience the magic of Nebraska Christmas Light Show at Haymarket Park from November 26th to January 3rd, 5 p.m. to midnight. Purchase tickets today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us today.
Back to stop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are rocking out here on the Ticket Water Cooler without our friend Rico. He is sick. He's out for the day.
Yep.
And then hopefully he returns tomorrow. And then I'm going to leave.
I hope he returns tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's listening.
Yeah,
he might be. If Rico does not return tomorrow, just a forewarning. It's going to be me in the chair from 8 a.m. till about 2.
Yeah, that's a long shift.
That's a long. It's a long time to be talking.
Say. Hopefully, there's a lot of storylines.
Yeah, hopefully there is. Maybe we can speculate on like Big Ten, Pac-12 football or something. Utah, USC, or not Utah, USC, and what's the other team? UCLA.
Oh yeah. Are you excited for the bowl season? Have you looked at any of the bowl matchups?
I've looked at a couple.
Playoffs?
I know Miami of Ohio and UAB get it rolling in the Bahamas Bowl on Friday.
Is Trent Dilfer going to be there?
I don't know. I will say I'm really intrigued by the Kansas State Alabama one.
Yeah,
because I know everybody knows, it's not a secret, how Chris Kleiman prepares his team. Like he's preparing them the same way that they prepared for TCU, for the same way that they prepared for Texas Tech, and now for the same way that they prepared for, or they're preparing for Alabama. And it just always keeps them in the game. And also this season, like Alabama's not that deadly. Like Alabama doesn't scare you as much as in years past. They don't have a Jamison Williams. They don't have Jalen Waddle. They don't have Devontae Smith. They don't have Tua Tagovailoa. They don't have
I mean, they have Bryce Young and Will Anderson.
Yeah, they do. They have
players.
Okay, so Bryce Young, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like they don't have I'm blanking on running backs names. They don't have Najee Harris. Like
Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram. No, I'm just kidding.
Trent
but like
Richardson.
Yeah. Oh, Trent Richardson. His biggest, when you think of Trent Richardson and the first play comes to mind, is it the one against Ole Miss? When he like stomps over the guy on like down the sideline. I will never forget that play. But like that was his Heisman moment or whatever.
Yeah.
But because he won the Heisman, didn't he?
I believe he did.
Trent Richardson.
Go back and remember. Yeah.
I want to say he won the Heisman. But I mean, think about it. Kansas State's just that team that it's just kind of annoying, and they always just grit it out. Like I think Alabama's going to win the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's double digits. But just because maybe from a speed point, but like, man, K-State they just figure out a way to contend and compete in ball games. And that's why they've been able to beat Oklahoma as much as they have been over the last couple of years, both at home and on the road. That's how they were able to beat TCU in overtime. I mean, it just happens. They just figure out a way, and that's Chris Kleiman.
Trent Richardson did not win a Heisman. He won the Doak Walker Award.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
But it's an interesting game to me because Kansas State is certainly a program on the rise, and they added Keegan Johnson, as we all saw over the weekend, or I think most people probably saw. A lot of people holding out hope that he'd come home to Nebraska. He's going to Kansas State, which there's been a few former Nebraska guys going to Kansas State, as we well know. But that aside, that's a program that's on the rise. They just won their conference. And it just it's one of those bowl games that's like one team's going to be really excited to be there.
Oh, exactly.
With everything, like can change their program if they get the win, and one program is disappointed that they're even there to begin with.
Like that's the thing is Chris Kleiman and Kansas State. Once again, I've said publicly, I've professed my love for Chris Kleiman. Chris Kleiman guy. And once again, everybody always thinks that it's so easy to take over a national championship contender or just a championship contender at any level, right? They think it's so easy. Unfortunately, I think it's much more difficult than people think. Like when Saban retires or when Saban's done and whoever the next head coach is, it's up to them to create their own legacy. And it's even harder to create your own legacy because everything's going to be matched up with what Nick Saban did. For example, Chris Kleiman at North Dakota State took over for Craig Bull. And Craig Bull built that thing into a national championship contender, right? He built that.
Oh, yeah.
And was able to sustain it over a couple of years. So then once Chris Kleiman got there, everything was compared to what Craig Bull did. NFL guys, national championship contender, national champion, right? And Chris Kleiman wins 3 at North Dakota State. And so that's his legacy. He's able to take what Craig Bull did and even elevate it further. And that's tough to do. And so they figured out, K-State did this. They figured out a way to make it the perfect fit. And that's why there's, not saying Nebraska is going to be a national championship contender, but bringing it back to Nebraska. When we talk about how important fit is, I think with Matt Rule and that hardworking mentality and making sure everybody is on the same page and has that blue collar approach, when you talk about fit, that's when special things can happen. And it's taken Chris Kleiman 4 years or whatever now, but here they are, Big 12 title, and they are able to there is a shot to beat Bama. There is a shot, and they do it with a strong offensive line. They do it with a couple playmakers. They do it with a tiny running back that's similar to Amir Abdullah, that's just smaller but just built like a freight train, and Deuce Vaughn. And then they also don't mention, I mean, we haven't even mentioned that in that Big 12 title game, they were without their starting wide receiver because he got hurt in the first quarter. Malik Knowles. He got hurt in the first quarter, and he was without him. And so, that's when we look at if Nebraska was in that position over the last couple of years and Samori Toure got out or Trey Palmer was injured and out for 3-4 quarters, what's Nebraska look like in that Purdue game without Trey Palmer? That's where it's different. And that's why I think I have so much respect for Chris Kleiman, is because he figured out where it was the best fit for him and for his mentality. And when they hired him, the expectation was not Big 12 championship, not even contending. The expectation was 7, 8, maybe 9 wins. And people say, wet blanket, Chris Kleiman is 30-19 in 4 seasons. Snyder was 28-23 in his last seasons before Kleiman arrived. You also have to remember that Snyder came back to Kansas State.
Yeah.
And that was where it was in a really bad spot. So Snyder brought it back to being in an average spot. But here's Chris Kleiman. You'll look at, he has a lot of ranked wins. He has a lot of, literally, I'm telling you guys right now that Chris Kleiman found his perfect fit at Kansas State, and that's why it's going to be so hard for anybody to pry him away from there.
Well, and we'll see where it goes, but so far he has had a couple 8-5 seasons, the 4-6 COVID year, but 10-3. This is, again, like I'm saying, this Alabama game can be the bowl game we talk about outside of the playoffs if they get the win, and all of a sudden Kansas State, it's, especially with the Big 12, what's kind of going on there, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, could be the new top dogs.
It is
in the Big 12.
I mean, think about it. What Kleiman has done. Yes, the 30-19 record, I get that, but we are entering an era or a group of years where it's sustainable. Like, Kleiman has now built Kansas State into a sustainable program to where, all right, Deuce Vaughn's going to probably go to the NFL this year. I believe he could come back if he wants to, but Deuce Vaughn's going to probably go to the NFL this year. And Malik Knowles, I'm not sure what happened with him, what's going to happen with him. But don't forget, Will Howard was their backup quarterback this year. And Will Howard's been the backup quarterback for multiple years because he was the backup to Skylar Thompson the last 2 years before Skylar Thompson got drafted to the Miami Dolphins in last year's draft. So, that's the sustainable program that I hate to compare Nebraska and Kansas State, but you have to believe. I mean, think about the things that are making Kansas State successful. As Anonymous Cubs fan says, man, Chris Kleiman on-air bromance. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about, K-State, what do you expect out of them every single Saturday now? A tough, physical, never give up kind of team. That's what it is. And what do we want Nebraska to be? What do we want Nebraska to be? A tough, physical, never give up kind of team. Yeah. A team that can go in to the Big Ten championship and on paper be undermatched against Ohio State in Indianapolis in the Big Ten title game, but say, you know what? Because we know what our coach is about, we know that the staff is all on the same page, that with the players and with all the other coaches, there's a shot. Although on paper there's not a shot, we know that once we get on the football field, we have a chance. And that's all we can ask for. That is what Husker fans want Nebraska to be.
Yeah.
And that's all about mentality. It's all about physicality. And so, and also when you talk about those things, those are sustainable. Kansas State's recruiting classes aren't sexy.
No.
But man,
they might get sexier.
We like the 10. We like the 10-3 win, right? Or the 10-3 season with the Big 12 title.
That's better than the year Nebraska.
New Year's 6 bowl game.
Frank Solich.
New Year's 6 bowl game.
Yeah.
Once again, we talk about sustainability, and it's a lot about refining the right fit in my mind.
Yeah.
So I understand the on-air bromance, and it might have been annoying, but I think it's important to talk about how Chris Kleiman went from North Dakota State, where he was a national championship winning coach, and decides to go to lowly Manhattan, Kansas, and has now built a sustainable program that we don't expect to go anywhere.
And for Nebraska, bringing this back to Nebraska, they had a big recruiting week, and they had 2 commits today. So it's worth mentioning. Quentin Ives, running back, receivers, big fast guy, 6'3", and he's pretty fast. Has committed to the Huskers during his visit this weekend. Also, Sincere Safewella, and I might not be saying that right. Is that close to what you've heard?
Yeah, it's safe. I have to pronounce it again. I have to
Safewella, something like that.
Yeah.
IMG Academy, cornerback, 6'2", 180. Nick, I do have to ask you this because Ives kind of fits into the same commits that we've seen so far for Nebraska. Safewell is different. He's a 3-star cornerback with Power 5 offers. Ives is yet another fast player without a whole lot of high offers that's not ranked on certain services. That's been that's been what Matt Rule's been able to get so far.
Yeah.
What are your kind of initial thoughts on it? On that, I like adding team speed. So there's at least a consistency in the diamonds in the roughs. You could say that he's going after, but there's a lot of diamonds in the roughs and not a lot of roughs, I suppose.
I think I'm not panicking right now though, Bach, because this is what Matt Rule told us he was going to do. Like, this was his plan from the opening press conference, is that he was going to find the best big enough and fast enough guys that they can get. And the recruiting rankings might not be sexy, but he's going to figure out a way to make them into football players. And so I don't think I'm panicking right now, because this is what we kind of expected. This is also what Matt Rule's body of work has shown us at his previous stops. This is what he does. He goes out, grabs 3 stars, grabs low 4 stars, maybe guys that went under the radar, and turns them into a pretty competent football team every couple years, right? So I'm not panicking quite yet. Now, if we get 3 or 4 years down the road and Nebraska's still sitting here with 3-9 and 4-8 and 5-7, then yeah, there's going to be issues. But I also think that, and we've talked about this ad nauseum before, under Scott Frost, personally, I think the evaluation was pretty lazy in years past. Evaluation, I mean. And it takes hard work to go in and truly evaluate guys. And that's something that's a strength of Matt Rule and his staff in all their recent stops, is their ability to evaluate talent and find, like you said, the diamonds in the rough. And maybe at Nebraska, you need to evaluate better and get the lesser talent, because Nebraska hasn't evaluated great, had top 25 recruiting classes, and has 20 wins.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see where it goes through. The other thing is, it's always the transitional class. It's hard to put too much on it to begin with. He's just trying to fill it up to, and get guys that he thinks have good potential. Clearly, that's what he sees in these guys as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll talk more college sports. Lots of stuff going on. Pop Watson, of course, now a Virginia Tech commit. And then we'll talk a little bit about Mike Leach and give you much as an update as we can on that situation there. We'll do that next here on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Jake Bakoven. The holidays are here, so this is the perfect time to give and get. By enrolling in a clinical research study at Solarion, you'll be giving your time to help develop possible new medications for the future. In return, you'll be getting up to $500 per day for your time and travel. To qualify for a study, you should be healthy and 19 years old or older. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/holiday.
Join DP and J Foreman for Old School Thursday from 6 p.m. at the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus. The guys will be brought to Barn Owl Bar on the top floor. Come see the best views in town with great drinks on Thursday from the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 4,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices. Helping injured people. What we do, it's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health insurance, 401k with company match program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today. Great culture, Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Are you looking for some holiday fun right in the heart of downtown Lincoln? Bring your friends and family to Lincoln's largest drive-through Christmas lights experience. This show features countless high-quality lights in vibrant colors, holiday props, and favorite characters of the season, all synchronized to music to enjoy in your car. Start a new holiday tradition this year and experience the magic of Nebraska Christmas Light Show at Haymarket Park from November 26th to January 3rd, 5 p.m. to midnight. Purchase tickets today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is the holiday season. I hope you're enjoying it. What you like to do on your holiday season is get your friends together. And that's what we're doing here as we're bringing in Nate for a little bit of the crossover here. So he's going to join Nick for happy hour. We also got Bob. Is that a friend?
I'm
are you guys,
Nicky Shea.
Are you guys breaking up as friends? What's going on?
No, we're chilling.
No,
okay.
Nick's mad that Virginia Tech is now officially ranked in basketball.
I'm not mad at all.
How about that,
I love it, Bach. So you know this, and I want to say this. I want to say this in the group chat, but I don't want to sound rude because I don't mean it in a rude way. But nobody in our group chat, Nate, cares about Virginia Tech.
I just think it's funny.
We have a group chat with me, Bach, Nate, and Rico. And like you send in all these Virginia Tech stuff. Like when William Pop Watson committed to Virginia Tech, you're like, stole him from Nebraska. And we're like, okay. We're like, okay. And then you send the ranks, the graphic.
I got to make
of
sure
Virginia
that
Tech
you guys
men's basketball being ranked. And I just want to reply, Nate, nobody cares.
You guys need to understand who runs the show around here, and it's me because of my allegiance to Virginia Tech.
Before we get to our Bob,
number 6 in women's basketball too.
Qdoba guy and really good at softball and baseball.
Very good at softball.
Qdoba guy,
How about that?
Qdoba,
Terrible at football. Yeah, just awful.
Justin Fuente. Qdoba guy asks, just curious, who's rules best players that's in the league right now? I was doing some research over the break. Qdoba guy from Temple, Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Robbie Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
From Baylor.
PJ Walker. Don't forget PJ Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker.
XFL MVP.
But I don't think Matt Rule's guy. Well, not one of Matt Rule's guys.
He didn't recruit him, but he coached him.
Yeah. Then you had at Baylor, you had lesser name, JaMychal Hasty, who was a running back, really good. Denzel Mims is a wide receiver, and then offensive lineman Kyle Fuller. I believe he's with the Seahawks right now. I want to say.
Well, the thing is, I think you can claim Philip Walker because with the current landscape of Philip Walker, PJ Walker, same player.
Philip PJ Walker.
But
Philip J. Walker.
I would consider that one of Matt Rule's guys because with college football now, technically you're still recruiting a kid to get him to stay.
Oh, 100%.
Like I would say anyone that stays on Nebraska's roster is still technically Matt Rule's guy because you're recruiting him to stay on the roster.
Yeah, I think that's
like you don't initially recruiting, but
especially if
you're recruiting your own players nowadays in college football because of the transfer portal.
And if you're getting them, if you are the last coach for their launching point to the NFL, that's your guy.
I agree.
Like
completely
Robbie
agree.
Anderson, I don't think was really doing all that well.
He was
he
was an undrafted free agent because he had 1 year with Matt Rule. He had numbers, didn't have enough of a body of work, didn't get drafted, and he ended up being one of the better wide receivers for the Panthers.
Now I think he's on the practice squad for the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, because he had that whole meltdown.
Yeah,
the Panthers
fell
did.
apart.
Yeah, it's too bad. All right,
kind of sad. Also, you're right, Simba. He says, "Screw them, Nate. We care."
What do you guys?
Hey, what does Mississippi Mud Dog say?
Yeah, look at that.
That's fine. I don't think Mississippi Mud Dog likes me very much.
That's okay. I don't think Mississippi Mud Dog likes me, so I was shocked that
He
they
doesn't
were
like the young guns running the show.
What did you guys think of the Panthers? The weird story behind the Matt Rule thing is there's still a team in the NFL that had our current coach as their coach this year.
I went
so
back.
I'm
It was
kind of
funny.
following the Panthers.
It was funny.
Yeah.
I went back and watched Matt Rule's press conference after their loss the week before he got fired, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. That just a couple months ago he was a head coach in the NFL.
Did he sound like he was out of answers at that time, or what did you think of the press?
It was Matt Rule.
We can talk about it, but I still give him the benefit of the doubt. If you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you're not going to win.
But
simply put, you're not going to win.
That's what I agree with that. But they also did beat the Seahawks yesterday for their biggest win of the season.
Okay, they're also still 5-8.
They are, but I'm just saying
they might win that division with 7 wins. They might be the first 7-10 team to win a division.
Hey, you know who might make the playoffs? Detroit Lions.
They might.
They won 5 of their last 6, Nathan Brennan.
They were favored against.
I hope you understand that.
Buck,
5 of their last 6.
Buck, before you get them on, you might want to do a station ID.
All right, yeah, because Bob tends to go a little bit long. We'll get to Bob here in a second. First, 10-second station ID.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Bob is waiting there patiently. Bob, how are you doing today? What are your thoughts?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing pretty well. Yeah, good.
You know, it's refreshing to see that a coach does his own recruiting and doesn't go by these recruiting sources. You know, we've had coaches that have done that and get 4 or 5 stars, and they don't pan out. You know, all Americans aren't made by 4 or 5 stars. Otherwise, they'd be giving them 4 or 5 stars. They're still developed. And, you know, you get these players that are, you know, maybe not the biggest stars. Well, look at the ones they just got, last week, or that was not even had a stars until he had an offer by Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then he's got 3 stars automatically. Really? You know, how'd that happen? Right. So, you know, at least he does his recruiting, you know, and analysis and that, and and develop these guys and, you know, develop them into All-Americans, you know. Would I like to see more of those possibly JUCO ranks? Because, you know, I haven't seen anybody that's, you know, been recruited in the JUCO ranks yet. And that can give you, you know, some help, you know, instead of just going all by portal. Because we've seen how that works, right? You know, that they don't all pan out, you know. Yeah, it's refreshing. I like it. You know, I've got faith in, you know, and more I read about the 3-3-5 defense, you know, and they can be aggressive and they can be physical. You know, I'm having more faith in it. So, yeah, I'm just anxious for this year, you know. Get the players in here, get them together, and you know, let's see what. Let's not play 2-hand touch and spring ball. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Let's tackle to the ground. You know, I wouldn't even mind you know, quarterbacks, you know, being hit, because, you know, you don't want to light them up, but at least be hit, you know, because you know what you've got. You know what I'm saying? And take it from the weight room, get physical in the weight room, get tough in the weight room, hit it hard in the weight room, take it down to spring ball, and then fine tune it in fall ball and let's see where it goes. So yeah, the more I hear about this staff, the more that is coming out, and more that how he does his own recruiting and evaluates his players, the more I have more faith in him.
All right, thanks for the call, Bob. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting, refreshing look at. But by the way, that always happens with any big Power 5 offer comes in. These stars aren't just, you'd like to think that it's just guys analyzing film the whole time, but part of it is okay. If a Power 5 team offers a kid, maybe we should give him some stars.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And when it comes to stars, I want to go back to a project I worked on a couple of weeks ago for shows. And this was before Scott, so I guess it would be a couple months. Geez, time flies. When, in terms of guys that have left the program, and this was before Scott Frost was fired. So you cannot use the excuse of, they left because they got a new head coach, because I get that, and that's understandable. 48 of 83 players that Nebraska signed since 2018 left. 59% of your roster was leaving. So I understand that it's great. The stars are great. And I get that you want to sign classes with 4 and maybe even 5 stars if you want to stretch it a little bit. I get that. I understand that. And it's great on paper. But number one, if you can't develop, it doesn't mean jack. And number two, if they don't play a single snap, if they don't even stay here for practice, it doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter.
Unfortunately for college football, though, I would say if you looked at other schools across the country, that's probably about on par.
I do not think that you lose 18 of 24 guys in a recruiting class in 1 year.
No, but I think collectively over the body of work, I would say that those.
Yes, but when we're talking about being able to build a sustainable program, and now in 2018, you talk about leadership in 2020 or leadership in 2021. You didn't have guys that have been in the program for 3 years. You had guys that maybe played college football for 2 or 3 years because through the transfer portal, but you didn't have guys that were in your program under that staff. Why? It could probably be it can be a testament to the way that the operation was being ran day to day. It could be a testament of lack of development and lack of ability to develop. And it could also be just losing, right? But it just goes to show. I mean, here's the deal. Nebraska lost 18 of the 24 guys that they signed. That's 75% of your class in 2018. 2019, you lost 43% of your that single class.
And I would say that's probably about average.
Over the course of 4 years, but not over
like
1 year, though.
I would say each year, I would say the average, again, I don't know, but I'd be really curious to see. I bet you it's around 50%. Across Power 5, I bet you it's about 50%.
By the time by
the time they leave, but this is 4 recruiting classes in a row.
No, I understand, but
so that's not what I'm talking about.
One class, I would say, is probably about on average. I think that 75% one is probably that one's definitely above average. But I would say 50 is about average.
But I'm saying you might not have. I understand that through the transfer portal you're going to have that, but you're not going to have it to this extent if you are developing guys and if they're still here.
I don't know if I
3 years down the road.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It was a lot of Nebraska's top guys too, and you're seeing
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
now once again. It's a lot of Nebraska's
It's those
top
4 and 5 stars that we were, or 4 stars because they didn't get any 5. It's those 4 stars that everybody was so pumped about.
Yeah.
It's the Keyshawn Greens, the Henry Grays, the Xavier Betts, the Marcus Flemings, the Nadab Josephs, the Jaden Francois, the Cameron Jones, the Greg Bells, the Will Honuses. It's those guys that you beat out Wandale, Jakeem Green, Demarion Houston, Ronald Tompkins III. These guys,
I think
that we never
why
even we don't
notice it as much though. I would say it's probably
there's
about
plenty of no names on there too.
But I think that's the thing is I know what you're getting at, and I understand your frustration. But with college football how it is now, I bet you Nebraska's about on average. And it's sad, but I genuinely think that they're probably about average.
I'd say they're probably a little past average.
I think they're above average, but I'm saying these guys, you were running your program so poorly and you had no ability to develop that, like, there was probably half of these 48 players that left before spring practice even began. They would get there in January and leave before spring practice. We wouldn't even see them in the spring game or on the bench for 2-3 years, because once again, there was no development. And it's not like you had all-stars. It's not like Nebraska was winning 12 games and it was like, hey man, listen, we got a first round and a 4th round draft pick ahead of you. It wasn't that. It was, we got to bring in Samori Toure because nobody behind him is good enough. We have to bring in a Trey Palmer because there is zero depth.
Well, the thing about the Scott Frost era is very clearly you can name off a lot more that went wrong than went right. So it's not like this is what really hurt Nebraska. Like there was everything. There's not a whole lot of positives during the Scott Frost era.
No.
Which, thank God, there's a new ruler in town, and thank God, it can maybe be completely different, and we'll see how it turns out. But that'll wrap it up for the Ticket Water Cooler. We have Happy Hour coming up next with Nick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket.
I'm dreaming of